And we're in. Hey, I'm Jim.
My name is Michael.
And he's Michael. This is 50% Facts. If you were tuning in for something else, you're just probably in the right place and just didn't know it, is what I'm thinking.
That happens.
Yeah.
You're like cruising for whatever, and then you come across an ice cream shop, and now you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Exactly where you're supposed to be. Exactly. So this thing, okay, so, we're recording next week's episode because I'm on vacation next week. But a thing just happened to us that we think is pretty freaking cool. Every time I say frickin', I always think of Austin Powers.
Frick yeah, baby. Poor Austin Powers. He's coming out with something. What was it?
Oh, Mike Myers?
Yeah, and it looked really good. Fuck.
I don't know.
I think it was a cartoon.
Oh, possibly.
Fuck, I forgot what it was, but it looked kind of good.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed. I watched Buzz Lightyear last night.
Oh, not good?
Just not what I wanted.
Oh, you were looking for more of a Toy Story flavor, or less of a kids thing?
No, yeah, I felt like it was very kid for Toy Story. You know, Toy Story always slips a few.
Yeah.
I didn't feel, and maybe I wasn't paying 100% attention, but it wasn't it. I don't know what it was. I thought it was going to be my shit. Because I like Shrek-y stuff, where they slip a few.
Yeah,
I love Toy Story where they slip a few, and then now we're in a sci-fi world right up my alley. I was like, oh, combo of everything I love.
I love Chris Evans.
Yeah, I mean, he was fine. It was all fine.
Yeah.
It just wasn't it.
I'm finding myself, I think that we're in the era of things that are either, media, whatever, that's either fine or it's excellent.
Yeah, which is good, right?
Yeah.
And there's probably trash. We just tend, because Netflix makes it easy. If I like going to the movies, and I would go see trash.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind because I like going to the movies. But now Netflix, there's so many options. Chances are that you click on trash is low.
Ish. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like trash. It'll end up being fine.
Right.
Because there's 100,000 things to choose from. Where back in the day, there's 5 movies, and if you already saw the hitter, now what? You're going to go watch a movie. Or even TV. There's 3 fucking channels. You're going to end up clicking on some shit.
Yeah.
Where I think that's maybe why we're in that era.
Yeah. I keep hearing a lot of people talk about The Rehearsal. Have you heard about that?
No.
I'm not going to get into it because I haven't seen any part of it at all, and I'm very confused by it, but it's kind of comedy, I guess.
I don't know. A lot of things just don't even call to me based on just like previews and shit sometimes.
It's got like a reality component to it.
Oh.
But
that I like.
Yeah. Our barber was telling me about it.
Yeah.
The Massenomics guys were talking about it.
All right.
Actually, the thing that I was going to bring up, though, is that we were just presented with, all up in here, ta-da,
California State Resolution?
Yeah.
Is that the official?
From the
Assembly Resolution?
Yeah. From the Assembly for Third Street Barbell, because Third Street Barbell is awesome. And Philip Chen, who's a Assembly member.
And a Third Street member. Says that we are his favorite gym in the whole world. And if you go to camera 4, you can see a picture of us and the resolution here at Third Street Barbell with Philip. And we super appreciate this because, more than we originally intended, this gym is a labor of love. We want everybody to feel comfortable here, to love being here. Yeah.
And when somebody tells us we accomplished that, especially somebody who's accomplished, we feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see the tie, because Jim's basically a Sacramentoian, although half his life was not here. I'm been here 28 years now. And like growing up, the capital never like felt like the capital. Obviously, I was in the suburbs, so it was a little different. But this kind of stuff reminds you, like, oh damn, like we're in one of the biggest, baddest states.
Yeah.
And now we're like a part of it.
Yeah.
Actually a part of it. And I literally go by the Capitol every single morning on the way here, and every single day on the way home. But it still doesn't like click. It's just a pretty white building when you're driving by it. But that real shit's going on with real folks and real business.
Yeah. Phil is. We should tell you that Phil is jacked.
He is pretty jacked.
And I think we're gonna have him on the show here pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why I never thought of that.
Well, here's the thing. Neither one of us like to ask people who we perceive as being busy to do a thing just for us.
True. But he likes fitness. Fitness is a big part of his life and what he believes in. And then obviously it helps just to get your voice out anywhere. He's trying to do good things and make changes. So I'm sure he'd be down to chat. I don't know when or where, but we'll make it happen. I mean, I do know where. I don't know when. Where
probably right here.
Yeah,
right
probably
here,
in the recording
right
studio.
here in the non-smoking smoking lounge.
Yeah, so we'll make that happen.
Yeah. So
we might have a guest.
Yeah. So I
no, I mean at the door.
Oh. Hello. There we go. All right. And we're back. So, listening to some of our friends who podcast talk about top powerlifters of all time, I started thinking about how subjective that is anyway, how era-based that is, whatever.
And compared to other sports, it's probably easier, but it's still kind of hard.
Yeah, easier but still kind of hard.
Right, because like basketball, like you're like, even baseball, you can do a little better because it's so stats-based.
Yeah.
Basketball, you're like, all right, the best player, or did he make his team better, or was he the best shooter? Like, there's so many other things involved. For baseball, you can start to break it down at least, like pitching, stat game, batting, stat game. Soccer, even more complicated because there's a million positions. Some dudes literally just don't score. Football, even more complicated. 80% of the motherfuckers don't even touch the ball.
Yeah.
Like they're not even capable of half the shit.
Right.
At least baseball, most cats are batting. Powerlifting, the simplest to probably compare. But now we got federations, we got drugs, and we have really big, at least one big era of rule change from like 60s, 70s, 80s, early 90s, I believe is when it happened, to now.
Yeah.
With like chasing yourself in the flight, 2-hour weigh-ins for the big dogs. And that being said, I still think you can compare better in powerlifting.
Then you can.
You can make a call. You can make a call because 2-hour to 24-hour weigh-ins, to me, that's like kind of obsolete because like obviously it makes a difference.
Right.
But if you just fit your weight class, you fit your weight class. Right? Like if you chose that weight class, that's on you. I didn't force you to do this crazy cut. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where that's like saying an era of basketball where everyone was 5'10", right? Like that's forced, which wasn't the case, but you know what I mean.
Right.
So that, the barbell difference, yeah, that sucks. Like, yeah, our barbells are better now. Less whip on a squat bar, more whip on a deadlift bar. But is that a make or breaker?
There might be a little bit more science behind training in a way that actually makes a difference now, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know if that goes into the account of best or not to me.
No. And so I started thinking about just how it's so subjective anyway. Yeah. Let's go really subjective, and let's talk about who inspires you. Who is your most inspirational? And I started at powerlifter, but you broadened it out to athlete, and I'm entirely comfortable with that.
Because that's how I talk. Because, like, Magic Johnson and Muhammad Ali are, like, two of my favorite athletes all time. Yeah. And, yeah, you could argue, you could definitely throw them in a greatest of all time conversations. It's not like they're, you know, C-list all time. Yeah. But I've never, like, just wanted, like, the best.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali was the greatest because he said he was.
Yeah, true.
And I'm old enough to remember a time when people didn't use the expression GOAT.
I feel like how much people use that is very new.
Yeah, it's like too much. Like somebody's been around for 15 minutes and somebody's calling him a GOAT.
Or they say goated. And now I think it is more just like they're really great.
Yeah.
They don't mean it. But to me, yeah, when you say the greatest of all time, there's one.
Right.
But they use it as
has to be
they're
one.
Good. They're good.
Has to be one.
Just say they're good.
They're good. They're really good. They're on a trajectory.
Or give me
toward
something.
Greatness.
Like they're probably top 10.
They're unexpectedly good now. They're a prodigy.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Last.
Yeah.
But even still, I'd rather just say music's another one if you want to get deep into this. Like best musician versus who you're into most versus what you listen to, what mood. Yeah. But yeah, just say like top 10. You could just say top 10, top 20. Oh, he's probably in my top 5.
Yeah, so we
you want to say what even sparked it?
Where it came from?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was listening to the Massenomics guys this morning talking in their most recent episode, which is going to be a couple of weeks old by the time this goes out, about something that Jonnie Candito did, basically ranking the top. What he threw out was the top 3. So
yeah, I feel like Candito's a very smart and calculated kid. I say kid respectfully, admiringly.
Yeah.
People get offended by that, but I never mean it that way.
No.
I mean it like my boy. It's the same idea.
Yeah.
Candito is very calculated. So I don't think he was saying these are, ranked 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Give it. I there's something going on. He's probably got a YouTube video or something coming.
I think perhaps. Yeah.
There's something happening in Candito's brain for sure.
But Dan Bell.
Yep. Biggest squat of all time, biggest total, raw total with wraps all time.
Yeah. Belkin.
Yuri Belkin, arguably one of the prettiest lifters of all time. And Wilks-wise, I don't know for fact, but I assume he's very close to the top Wilks-wise.
Yeah, and Russ Orhii.
And because as soon as I saw it, and then me and Jim were talking about it off, I was like, there's other names you got to throw in, obviously, right? Like if we're really voting, we got the John Hacks, probably Atwood at this point.
Yeah.
And Eddie.
Throwback to Ed Cohn, who would be higher on my list if he still followed me on social media, but since he abandoned me, I can't. I have to have a couple point deduction, demerit or something.
I was doing a live Instagram, not to throw this elsewhere, and someone else Mount Rushmore powerlifting, and I whipped 4 out really quick, really good. I think.
Okay, what you got?
I did Fred Hatfield.
Yep.
Louis Simmons.
Yep.
Fuck, now I forgot. I might have gone Eddie Kirkowski.
Maybe.
I think those are the 4 I threw. There's 4 fucking heads on that thing, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, you can make an argument for all those guys, yeah,
right?
For sure. Yeah.
For Mount Rushmore, like, and Mount Rushmore to me, again, is even different than best.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for sure it is because
it's about old cats.
Yeah. Well,
no offense, fam.
Well, and old cats. Older cats and even older cats.
Yeah, like legendary, like legacy stuff.
Yeah,
because like best right now or all time, Russ is definitely in my top 3.
Yeah,
but he's not going on my Mount Rushmore.
No.
Same with like LeBron.
A little too soon.
Yeah, LeBron's probably not going on the Mount Rushmore. I don't even know if Kobe is.
Yeah,
but they're in the top 5 all-time best basketball players all time. But they're not going on my Rushmore.
Yeah, no,
they're all like different colors to.
There's a lot of weird stuff behind how the heads ended up on Rushmore.
Oh, I'm sure that's a whole. Yeah,
but
when you got to throw politics into it.
Yeah, George Washington.
Yeah.
Thomas Jefferson.
I don't know if it's true or not. I heard
Jefferson. I was out for a moment. I was going to say Jackson, and that would be really weird. Jefferson, Lincoln.
Yeah.
And then Teddy Roosevelt.
Right.
He was friends with the sculptor.
I knew there's some weird shit.
Yeah, because like he doesn't necessarily fit in there.
Right. Yeah, timeline or perhaps otherwise.
Yeah, it's like what exactly? He contributed a lot in terms of creating national parks and stuff like that.
Yeah, which Rushmore's in a national park and blah blah. I get it.
Yeah. So it almost is more like, back in the day, painters would have patrons. People who paid them for whatever, and so they worked them into a lot of their things. It eventually became known as masterworks or whatever, and they're in there. The weirdest one, this was one of the weirdest things about seeing a bunch of art in Italy was how many of the faces of like babies and children and stuff were actually versions of like politicians and patrons and stuff like
babies?
that. Yeah, no, that's the weird part. You look at them and it's a body of a baby, but it's got the facial features of a grown up.
I want that of me.
Well, that may be our next T-shirt.
That's like a fucking Wayans brother movie.
Yeah, pretty much. So Mount Rushmore means something else. It means it's a giant monument to people who did stuff who may or may not be the best at whatever.
Yeah, it made big impact. Maybe.
I mean, I don't know if we have a United States of America without George Washington.
Sure.
I don't think that we have as eloquent a Declaration of Independence without Thomas Jefferson.
Right.
I don't know if we have a country that is all one country without Lincoln.
Yep.
And even now that those divisions still kind of run deep.
For sure.
And I don't know how we fix them. And then Teddy Roosevelt. So So anyway,
Yeah.
we ended up. This is the long journey that we went on to come up with where we are today.
Yeah. So Candito, brought us into that, and then we started thinking inspiration, motivation, or favorite. And then what I thought on that wrinkle is how different that is via social media era, particularly powerlifting and fitness versus major sports.
Yeah.
Because major sports athletes don't often use their social media.
Yeah.
You know, they still just use it as like sponsorship poster board. Maybe they'll post their dog here and there, but most of them, LeBron will show a little bit behind the scenes and stuff, but a lot of celebs just use it as like a billboard.
Yeah.
Oh, I partnered with so-and-so vodka, and they post that.
Yeah.
That's slowly what kind of made The Rock and Kevin Hart different, but they use it as social media, but they clearly have a fucking facade on, right? They're acting when they're doing it. And if you guys don't believe that, I'm sorry to ruin your little parade, but like they're fucking fake on social media. And so are, not that your favorite fitness folk aren't either.
Yeah.
But they're probably slightly more towards the authenticity side. And I wondered if that would play a bigger role if hypothetically major sports athletes, and Twitter's probably actually the best one.
Yeah.
Where you can get a feel for a celebrity. You know, sometimes they'll say some things that they're getting fined for, and you know they'll play the game on there a little bit and really speak their mind. But if social media, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, celebrities were more than real selves, I wonder how that would affect fan bases and jersey sales and popularity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you get to know him better. And that's obviously like what built our career and built a lot of Russ Orhii. Not only is he one of the greatest in the sport himself, but he puts out a lot of content and people vibe with who he is rather than just what he does. And again, sport by sport, you can show more of who you are, right? Powerlifting, if there was no social media, you can't really show who you are. You know what? You got red hair, like or whatever the fuck. There's nothing going on, right? You have that real cool socks on deadlift. There's not a lot going on. Basketball, baseball, right? You got a lot of TV and a lot of hours that you're on. A pitcher is on camera a lot, or you're paying attention to him a lot live.
Right.
So you're seeing he can show a little flair potentially, or a quarterback or something. But without social media or TV or anything, it's really hard to choose like a favorite. Muhammad, I've never watched a full boxing match in my entire life. Muhammad Ali's in my top 3 favorite athletes because I've watched all his interviews and all his speeches.
So you're a fan of the person who is a boxer and not the boxer.
Yeah, I'm a Muhammad Ali fan. I'm not a boxing fan.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I can be that way too with athletes or whatever.
And he's just
sometimes
so
actors
funny
as well. Like their persona is better than any property they were ever in.
The only difference is so many of them that are at least good at what they do, they're very recluse, I feel like. You know, like they really just act and then they hide. And I don't blame them because their amount of fame is so high. And even Muhammad Ali, right? He's one of the most famous dudes, and there's clips of him just walking down the street with fucking hundreds of people following him as he's yelling at a camera saying something funny. But yeah, we got a fat list. Shout out to Discord if you guys want to join it. And you want to interact like this or get involved with the chat, you kind of have to be in Discord. It's the main place we do it. 50percentfacts.com. If you head there, we got a link to our Discord. It's just our server. It's basically like a group chat meets a forum, and that's where we're hanging out. And that's where I pitch this idea of like, who's your favorite athlete, lifter, more important or more specifically, who's your most motivational athlete, lifter. And then we got a fat list, and maybe we can just comment or we can start
just
to
run
dig
through it, and then we'll at the end we'll sort of share our own.
Yeah, we'll see if any of these resonate with us or not.
Yeah. Okay, first up we have Caesar, who says J.M. Blakely.
Yeah, old school power lifter.
Creator of the J.M. press that most people don't do correctly.
Yeah, I don't know if J.M. ever spoke to me, the lift or the person.
Very
strong multiply guy, but
like I definitely knew and heard plenty of stories about J.M. Not somebody that I synced up with in terms of when I was paying the most attention.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about inspirational and motivational often is either the story's crazy and you get tied up into it, or you relate to them.
Yeah.
And that's, again, the beauty of social media. Hopefully, if someone's being authentic, you can relate to who they are, how they act, what they're into, and you can find commonalities beyond, we all deadlift.
Dude lifts with 2 O's. Martin Lisi's, Terry Todd, Bo Jackson.
Pretty solid fucking list. Todd's who we watched a documentary on, right?
I think so, yeah.
which is cool. And watching that story made me like Terry Todd a lot more, although I didn't know a ton about him, but I knew his face. Martin Lises is one of the, not the few, but he is in the generation of World's Strongest Man that started making a lot of content. You know, so like a lot of that makes sense. You can get to know his personality. He's not from here, right? But he lives here?
Good question.
Because he competes for America, but I swear he had an accent, or I'm in some weird Dunning-Kruger shit.
I don't know. I don't have a definitive answer for that.
Yeah, I don't know, and everyone's going to laugh at me for not knowing. But I'm pretty sure he's got an accent.
I only know what I know. So.
Yeah, fuck y'all. I only know what I know, too.
Yeah.
And then Bojack's kind of an easy one, right? That's like, who's going to hate on Bojack?
Yeah, we used to have a Bo Jackson rookie card for inspiration and good luck.
We should look at this
in front of us.
The stats on it, because we talked about it a little bit with Dean even, where I think Dion had a better dual career than Bojack, right?
That's a possibility.
I think Dion had the best dual career in sports history.
I believe that's very possible. I think because Bo Jackson had an injury thing with his hip that affected both sides.
Yeah, shorted it a little bit. Yeah, he was definitely. I don't know about definitely. I was gonna say maybe he's a better football player, but I don't know. A lot of people say Dion's top 3 all-time DBs too. My dad, like an old school cat, you know, from Cleveland, so like, and everyone just kind of hates the Cowboys. Yeah. And so when I was watching football more, Dion was more on the Cowboys than that, and he was obviously very showy. And I tended to play a little showy without being showy. Like I didn't like celebrate. I put a little flair on how I played rather than like showboating, or I wouldn't make a shot and like beat my chest. I would just do an around the back pass type shit. But I only did it when it was like semi-logical. That kind of makes sense. And so my dad never hated how I played, but he hated how Dion played. And I was a huge Dion fan. So like I'd try to like buy like a fucking cowboy football or something. He'd just throw that out the house, throw it in the trash type shit. Yeah, he was very upset at that. But Dion, and then like just like some of his pictures and shit are so iconic. He's got like a fucking perm deal, and he's all blinged out before that was like a thing. I don't know. I loved it. Yeah, he kind of had a mullet. He inspired my mullet a lot. Bojack, yeah, but Bojack's just a freak. That dude would be the best power lifter of all time if we ever got into it. Sean Taylor, linebacker, I believe, if that's where we're headed. Not a bad take by Mig here. I wonder why, though. I should have asked for more details on it. Some people went into details and not. He just said Sean Taylor, and that could be like your favorite player. Often in like football or some of those sports I was talking about where the position I feel like is more specialized. If you played that position, right, you choose someone that you like in that position. Where like basketball, like I was a point guard, so Magic Johnson was my favorite, but like everyone's doing the same shit. You know, where like if you play baseball and you play first base, a pitcher might not be your favorite player. You're going to try to find a first baseman that you relate with, probably even more specifically. Yeah,
it kind of depends, but because in part because guys coming up don't always necessarily track into a particular position until later on.
I think it's similar to football. If you're in high school and you play quarterback, it's just because you're the best player on the team. Yeah, and then when you go to college, you'll play whatever,
and probably the best looking.
Yeah, probably. And
I don't know why that's
probably
true
same with baseball often too, right? You're the pitcher in high school because you're just the best.
Yeah,
and then who knows where you end up in college or single A.
Yeah. We can't skip over the fact that Sean Taylor was murdered in 2007. So
crazy, right?
Yeah.
Chargers? Am I way off?
You're
Bills?
Redskins.
Fuck, yep, way off for sure.
Yeah, Redskins.
90s, though. I know the era.
Now the Washington, what are they?
They switched again, I think.
They were the Washington
football team, and
now they're something else.
Yeah, I don't know. They did make a switch.
But what he played for was the Redskins. So.
Jake's just patronizing me. So
this is not the only mention of your name.
I know, but they're in our Discord. It's unfair like they're antagonizing me.
I will. Okay, so I agree with that. Yeah. But at the same time, I think that I'm not going to discount how people felt at the time that they locked in to content that you were
for sure
a significant part of, and how they saw either themselves there or or whatever. I this is a legacy that we can't actually just like.
No, I think people relate to how I approach things.
Yeah.
Where I can, and I've tweeted about it many times, where you can take something, a craft, a hobby, a skill very seriously without taking yourself seriously or overly seriously. And I think that's something people relate to, that not everyone bashes their head against a wall before they squat, you know, but you can still be a very good squatter and get into shit and feel like it's important to give it importance while still, you know, having some fun. And I do think people relate to that. And I don't know if I was just joking, Jake. Maybe Jake relates to that. Lovely.
Yeah.
Ken Griffey Jr. is a big hit, I think, on all accounts. I'm not a baseball guy by any means, and I'm a Ken Griffey fan. Style, obviously athleticism.
Yeah.
Athleticism beyond what your sport like needs. Like he's one of the freakiest athletes in all sports.
Yeah.
And he ends up in baseball. Obviously his stats and his gameplay speak for themselves. Good looking cat. Like he kind of hits the if he was in a different era, and he even did good. Like I don't know about the 80s, 90s that much baseball, but I assume not many of them even now get like signature shoes and shit. Like that's such a rare occurrence.
That's still pretty rare.
Yeah,
in baseball.
and I don't know if he was the first, but he's definitely like one of the most iconic to kind of be in that range with Nike, get his own jackets and shit. So I would, and baseball is kind of in a weird space right now. I feel like popularity wise, like views and the core is good, but like what it's doing is a little shaky. Like if Ken Griffey came about in a different era, he could be and he was a megastar, but he could be an absolute dominant celebrity.
Baseball is in transition right now. It's trying to figure out who it wants to be going forward.
Yeah, where it's going.
For sure. There's another Silent Mike mention.
There's some we need to change these profile pics, fam. That one's not allowed anymore. Do you know that meme?
Jack D?
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh, you don't want to.
All right. I'll
Dude's got an anaconda head and like 3D out that picture.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a very popular meme maybe 10 years ago.
That might be a
And then Chris Bumstead. If that's not a list that I'll never be mentioned on again. It's probably both for our looks, I assume. Our physiques. Me and the C-bum.
Randy Moss. Yeah.
Yeah, Freako.
Yeah.
Yeah, how can you not be a Moss fan?
Yeah.
Straight cash, homie. One of my favorite quotes all time. You know that quote? He was getting like fined like 20 grand or something because he probably dropped an F-bomb or danced in the end zone. And he's walking to like his car in the parking lot. And interviewers are like, how are you going to pay that fine, Mr. Ross? Straight cash, homie. He fucking hops in the whip.
That's
Love that.
Amazing. Joe Mauer?
Beyond me.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know Joe Mauer.
Let's find out.
Yeah, beyond me. Sully's been in the Discord for a long time, though. Shout out Sully. Yeah, I don't know.
Baseball catcher Joe Mauer.
There you go. Yeah, that's well beyond me. I know Mike Piazza. That's the only fucking catcher I ever know.
Spent his entire career with the Minnesota Twins, so I'm going to assume...
Twins fan? Oh, and Randy Moss, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Sully, dude. You can't step out of your fucking Minnesota shit.
Mr. Eddie Drizzle says Lionel Messi.
Kobe, Pirlo. Who's Eden Hazard?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Lionel Messi, I think, is a great fucking take, Eddie. That's probably the smartest thing you've ever said. Shout out to my boy Eddie. Kobe's obviously a great take. I think Kobe's fan base was already, and I was never a Kobe hater, but I was never like a Kobe fan, just because we played so differently. It is nothing that spoke to me, but obviously his unfortunate passing and unexpected passing elevated him to probably be on that Mount Rushmore type. You know, just because of like stories and timelines and sad and his daughter, you know, like, and his legacy was going to be and is going to be great regardless of his passing. He was already legendary, top 10 all time, hands down. But it does switch the stories up.
Yeah.
Like I forgot the stat. Shout out to Bill Russell, R.I.P., who just passed as well. But out of the top 75, which is a kind of a random list, but they do make a legitimate list of top 75 NBA players of all time. I think only three had like passed.
Oh.
Up until Kobe, and that was maybe like 4. And then now Bill Russell is like 5, which is pretty wild because it is kind of a newish sport.
Yeah,
in that regard.
Eden Hazard's a Belgian soccer player. I feel like Eddie has got, you know, he's about the footy.
Yeah, I knew Pirlo and Lionel Messi. They're hits, man. You can't miss. But I didn't know Hazard. I didn't.
Well, we do now.
Yeah. My boy D.
Silent Mike again. Taylor Atwood.
Yeah, Atwood's a fucking stud, and I see him stepping more into the content game. His popularity will definitely grow there beyond just his platform performances, but he's easily in the conversation for longevity, dominance, and the gap between him and 2, 3, 4, 5 in his weight class is pretty undeniable. Pure strength and performance. He can go down as the best powerlifter of all time. I think if he continues, depending on what route. I know I don't know if it's a joke or not, but he's talking about going up a weight class and going head to head with Russ. Right, like there's a lot of things to be said about his talent. It's kind of a quiet talent. Like he's been winning IPF championships for a fucking decade, and his numbers are insane. For like, I think he's 74 kilo, 73 kilo, whatever they bounce back and forth with. Bryce, shout out to Krawcheck, good homie of mine, very smart dude, great content, some of the most underrated content in YouTube history. Crazy strong, crazy smart. Hard to argue that one too. A lot of these dudes, they have the platform performances to back up also their great personalities, content, and what they do for the industry and the niche. Shout out my boy Chili.
We got
John Randall, another football guy. Chili plays college football, so it all makes sense. Even though I'd absolutely wreck him if he went head to head with me.
What?
Yeah, I'd put him in the wall. I think John Randall's, even Chili's got to be fucking 20 years old for all I know. Let's say 21 because he got a red cup in his profile. They'll not get him arrested. We know that's not water, kid. I think John Randall's before my time. He's probably early 90s, I think. I might be wrong. He might be 80s.
He's 54 now, so.
Okay, 90s. Yeah, 90s, early 2000s.
Hall of Fame in 2010, if that tells you anything.
Yeah. Yeah, so 90s.
Yeah.
Big tuna.
Furious Pete, and just in terms of not as a competing lifter, but beating cancer multiple times, continuing to grind, keep going. Fitness is.
Great take, great guy.
Pete's a good dude.
Yeah, one of my faves for sure. One of my favorites in the game. One of my favorites in life. A lot of great content, both food and fitness, and obviously strong as an ox in many ways.
There's a real trick to being popular, but not being full of yourself. And Pete does not take himself seriously. He takes his okay, so here's the key. If you want the key to it, this is my camera right now, or maybe this is my camera. Put your audience first.
Pete
put your audience first, but you're not putting yourself first. And so when you do that, you're immediately like humbled.
Pete's like legendary in the YouTube game. Some of his food stuff was so early YouTube and so big. YouTube's expanded like crazy. So like the numbers you like can't compare, but 1 million subs in like 2012 or whenever he had it is astronomical. He was probably top 30, top 50 YouTubers in the game.
Yeah.
He's an originator. And like you said, just good dude, fun to hang. I used to see him a lot more when I traveled to Toronto more, so it's been a while, but really good dude, good choice. Bryce Lewis, another great choice. That was the backup plan, or the more lifty plan. Another great option.
Yeah, you have to admire Bryce. You have to admire him.
Many ways.
Yeah. He was really kind of one of the early guys to speak out about mental health stuff among lifters, and has taken his own training very seriously and does not. Like, he doesn't make a statement about, this is a good thing to do unless he's already done it and feels comfortable with it.
I'm a big fan of him, and obviously the 3DMJ guys, which is his kind of mentors in the game. He was a bodybuilder under Berto and Eric Helms, and I can't speak highly enough about them all. But Bryce, as well as them, have really evolutionized what it looks like to be a good coach, taking a holistic approach rather than just X's and O's and proteins and carbs. They focus on the human, and so that's something amazing that I admire about Bryce beyond his clear work ethic and top level lifting.
Yeah,
I'm going to argue Dom now though, because he went in and said Bo Jackson. We were just saying who your favorite is and inspiration, all this shit, and he automatically comes and says Bo Jackson, greatest athlete to ever live. And that's just such a hard fucking statement, and that's why we literally made this question. Is because, man, you throw LeBron James in some pads, and the man's causing a ruckus.
Yeah,
he moves like Bojack, but now he's 6'8".
Yeah,
2'8". He's got 60 pounds on him. Deion Sanders. Yeah, there's a lot of fucking freakos out there, man.
Yeah,
and how do you compare these freakos? Look, I'm a Bojack fan. Don't want to pick on you, Dom, but as soon as you make a black and white statement like that, It's fucking difficult, bro. Vince Carter, dude's jumping 50 inches through the sky, you know, like by what measurement? And if you say athlete, then we got to go to athleticism, which is change of direction, vertical speed, coordination. You can't say that stuff without, you know, Michael fucking Jordan. You know, what if that dude just ate steak all day and lifted weights instead of basketball? Who knows? He could have been a wide receiver. Randy Moss. There's just freakos everywhere.
Yeah.
Freakos everywhere. Adrian Peterson.
People who would have been good at any sport, they just chose the sport they chose.
Yeah, literally. It's been a joke, but like LeBron James could probably throw on pads and play in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just absurd. It's just like the amount of money, time, risk of injury is just different, I feel like, than the Deion Sanders, Bojack era to play different sports. And they already played the most dangerous one, and then they went to baseball rather than the opposite, right, where Jordan or LeBron would be going basketball, which is dangerous. You get fucked up for sure. But then going to football, chance of risk of injury goes up. If you're playing outfield in fucking baseball, chance of getting highly injured is... Yeah,
don't be an idiot. Running into the wall or running into another outfielder.
Yeah.
Those are your potential problems.
Yeah, don't be an idiot. And you'll probably be all right.
Yeah.
It's not like they're going out there and fucking throwing.
I mean, some guys lay out pretty rough for a catch and then just hitting the wall.
Yeah.
That's all about like how safe is the ballpark.
Sure.
You know.
Sure. But percentage wise, I bet you it's nothing compared to a football.
Most beautiful.
He was responding to Ken Griffey.
Oh, okay, yeah. I would argue that point. The most beautiful swing in baseball history is Will Clark, and then everybody else.
I don't know anything about any of it.
Yeah, fucking sweetest swing ever.
I just know like Ken Griffey threw a 360 dunk. That's why he's my favorite baseball player. Yeah, okay. That's all I got.
We got Bill Bates in Dom's.
The backup plan.
Yeah, and then Dorian Yates.
Oh yeah, I saw that. So, like, Dorian and, like, Ronnie, Jay Cutler, some of those guys, it wasn't, like, necessarily social media because I think they're technically filmed for documentaries, but they ended up on YouTube, at least when I watched them.
Yeah.
You could get a real vibe of some of these bodybuilders, even Kai Greene. You know, why is Kai Greene so popular? Like, yeah, his physique was insane, but it had to be some of these, like, YouTube videos that were semi-produced, documentaries that went out. And Dorian, same thing. I saw some documentaries of him, like, in his early days, you know, training in some kind of dungeon and his intensity and all that. Like, yeah, that makes you a fan. I think you can scroll around and see someone's physique and be like, yeah, that's cool. I'd like to look like that. But, like, to become a fan of someone or truly inspired by someone, there's got to be some depth to the character. You have to know something about somebody. And that's where, like, I argue, and maybe it's just, again, me being me, and I've never been like that, you know, about celebrities or athletes. More we've talked about it like fictional stuff or like has like inspired me or tied to me more because you learn about fucking Yoda. You know, I never learned about Jordan really until now. Like that's why Save the Last Dance was such a popular documentary, because you really learned about him. And I read the books and I read the articles and I watched every game and I watched all the interviews, but you still don't learn about them the same way as following Ronnie Coleman for 12 weeks putting barbecue sauce on his chicken every morning. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a different vibe of the human. So being a fan of like a bodybuilder almost makes more sense to me than like a pro athlete. You know, like a Dorian, even though he was a different era.
Yeah, for sure.
Last but not least,
Bruce Lee. It's difficult to argue with Bruce Lee unless they're like conspiracy theories about Bruce Lee.
I kind of like those.
About like what he accomplished and what he really accomplished, and then the whole business about how he died. Yeah.
Isn't there even some conspiracies about him being a fake?
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that could possibly be true. But.
And I don't know if it's because of how I was raised or what, but I've never seen a Bruce Lee. Bart hates this. I've never seen. I don't know if I've seen a Bruce Lee movie in my life. Maybe one.
Yeah, I've seen a couple.
Yeah, I think Jet Li's a newer generation, right? I think I've seen one of his because he was in a movie with DMX. I like fucking rap, and then I just wasn't raised on those type of movies.
I wasn't really either.
Jackie Chan for my era, just because Rush Hour is so iconic, one of my favorite movies ever.
Jackie Chan is more of a full package, in the same way I think that Bruce Lee was as well.
Yeah,
I think the way I remember seeing Bruce Lee as a kid was he was in the series of the Green Hornet.
Oh yeah.
He was Kato in the Green Hornet. I remember that more than the other stuff.
Than movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Obviously, his physique. I've heard a lot of like the aesthetic movement guys, the guys that aren't into bodybuilding but into the aesthetics, are Bruce Lee fans because he's just shredded to the bone and good musculature but not big.
Yeah.
Obviously athletic and could move his body through space.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just one. Yeah, I think maybe because of the movies or the era, even though it's not like Bart's that much older than me. But it's just never like ties. Yeah, never called to me at all.
Mm.
Any movie guy hasn't really called to me. You know, like who's your fave celeb? And Vince Vaughn, just because I think he's like such a like not even a method actor, but he's like a character. You know, he's just himself.
Yeah,
and I think he's witty.
Yeah,
you can tell like because he's the same fucking character in every movie.
Yeah, he doesn't speak to his range as an actor,
right? But it probably speaks to like having a beer with him would be just as funny as watching Wedding Crashers.
Yeah, I think that the strangest fit for him was the shot-for-shot remake of Psycho.
I didn't see it. There's a bunch of like little random ones, right? Because he's like a photographer in Jurassic Park, probably just getting his way into Hollywood type shit. But that was after Swinger. Who knows? But.
Yeah, he played the Norman Bates role, the central character in the shot-for-shot remake of Psycho.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is the movie's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable.
I saw the original Psycho. I told you that's what I think caused all my fucking issues with old movies. My mom and sister had like a weird thing where like one summer, because mom was a teacher, we'd have summers off, or she had summers off, so she's hanging with us, and we like rented an old ass movie every day. And I'm like, dude, it just felt like torture. I was like too young to care, and then I'm just forced to watch. You know what I mean? I'm like probably 5th grade or 4th grade, where none of this is clicking at all.
Sam, how old were you when I showed you Psycho? 11, 12, maybe?
Yeah, maybe similar.
Yeah.
But I've been watching old movies my entire life.
Yeah, I've been showing the movies, old movies.
I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, my kids grew up on old movies and new movies and whatever else.
My sister, for some reason, was an Alfred Hitchcock fan. I don't know.
Yeah, I had been a minor Hitchcock fan, and then there were some movies that hadn't been re-released in a long time that came out in theaters, semi-restored kind of in the early-ish 80s, and I was like, oh, this is really good. You have to think about how they're telling the story and how it's not going to be on 100% naturalistic.
Sure.
You're not going to go, okay, well, life would be people would react like this or whatever.
Yeah.
No, it's just it's a kind of storytelling.
Yeah, take it how it is.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I felt about it. So our own choices.
Lifters?
Shall we do lifters?
We can do it all.
And then athletes.
Yeah, we can just whip a bunch out. I already did my athletes. I think Muhammad Ali's top notch for me. Jordan, just because of the era I grew up in, it was kind of impossible not to be a Jordan fan and a Bulls fan. You know, I'm fucking in 3rd grade in whatever year, probably 92, and he's going crazy. Space Jam came out, similar thing.
Yeah.
They tie in the children, you know, like you're a Bugs Bunny fan, you're a kid fan. I'm in 5th grade, of course, or probably younger, probably 3rd, 4th. Love Space Jam, already like Jordan, and you just sucked in. Muhammad Ali was a obsession a little bit later, just because of the interviews, and I just always thought he was so fucking funny, and I still do. You know, I literally will watch his clips last week, and I just love it. Lifters, I don't know, you know, because it's so tied to what we do and everyone we know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of Russ Orhii because he's taken so many paths similar to mine and excelled at them all. Where the best powerlifters in the world have to have jobs. So not that the Dan Bells and the Yuri Belkin, I don't know about Yuri Belkin, overseas things might happen differently, but whoever, right? Dan Greenes or whatever. Yeah. You got to work really, really hard because you have to support your living because your athletic career doesn't.
Does not, yeah.
But for Russ to, you know, put out the content, to put out the clothes, to put out all these things in a younger generation and do it his way, I think that's really cool. Where, you know, I swear there's a tweet, and everyone's going to say, all right, old fogey, whatever. I swear there's a tweet in, like, 2016, me at Russ saying, like, yo, this powerlifting thing needs some style in the game because old school powerlifting had no culture, really. Like, it built its own weird culture, not good.
It was a weird culture.
Yeah, there's toxic culture. And then there's no, like, style about it, right? Where, like, you go to a basketball game, you're going to see the basketball players all dress, walk, talk similarly. You may hate that. That's fine. I like culture, and I think that's cool when it's all positive, the sneakers. You know, there's no negative to all that.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Cohn, Yuri Belkin, because of how technical he is as a lifter. I've always looked at Yuri and some of the other kind of, you know, Russian-style lifters, but those are kind of the main ones that come to mind. Randy Moss, because he was a freak during the era. I watched a lot of football. Jerry Rice. Steve Young, he's kind of hard-nosed, a little bit different for the quarterback position. I don't know.
you mentioned Steve Young. I'm a big fan of Joe Montana and Steve Young accomplishing very similar things in very different ways.
Yeah, and in a row. I got a Notre Dame autographed Montana ball. Maybe we should bring it in here. It'd be cool.
Nice.
Yeah, put it on set.
Yeah. With Montana, there was never a point in a game, as long as there was still time on the clock, that you didn't think it was possible that he could pull something off.
He's a freak. Time and time again.
Yeah. It just always. And, you tend to become a fan of the teams that you watch most often.
Right. And they're Niners. We're NorCal guys. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense. The Raiders weren't good growing up, so I became a Niners fan.
Yeah. In the same vein, the Giants just retired Will Clark's jersey over the weekend. No one else will ever wear number 22. Number 22 is the most popular number
in baseball
for Giants to have worn.
Yeah,
everybody wants because of him.
Yeah,
Everybody wanted to wear that number. Nobody can wear it.
I didn't know that. That's funny. I wore number 22 a lot.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, not because of that.
But Brandon Crawford, current shortstop. There's a picture, some great pictures of Will Clark holding him as like a toddler.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because he grew up, being a Giants fan.
Yeah, legacy shit.
One of my favorite players of all time. Someone who became an inspirational player because of the way that he quit. He was a Giant until he couldn't be a Giant anymore. He became a Texas Ranger, and then he ended his career with the Cardinals. And his last year was basically as good as his first years, and decided to go out on top. To be home with his son, who's neurodivergent. Yeah, he's on the spectrum, and he's like, my kid needs me more than baseball needs me, and more than I need baseball.
Especially in baseball, where like the longevity, again, despite pitchers, but even still, like the longevity, you can play for a really long time. If you don't fuck around. Yeah. To quit at the top is a lot more rare. Yeah. Like it's becoming more popular with running backs because those motherfuckers just get obliterated all day, right? So like, yeah, you're at the top, you have enough money, maybe you won a Super Bowl, whatever. Yeah, retire 5 years in. But with baseball, it is a rare thing.
And he went from being really kind of a brash early 20s guy who 100% spoke his mind all the time. Yeah. To sometimes to his detriment, to now being just kind of an inspirational figure. Like he gave a speech over the weekend at this ceremony that was like, it was amazing. Yeah. It was just kind of like probably one of my favorites because he acknowledged a lot of the people who were there and people who even weren't there who had played a role in his career.
Yeah, humble.
Very. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's cool to see people grow up like that if you're a fan, right? Like you saw him in his early 20s and you see him now as a dad.
My connection was I remember watching his first major league at bat, and I was actually on the phone with my late best friend.
Oh, dope.
And we're like, who is this guy? And he comes up and he smashes a home run off of Nolan Ryan in his first major league at bat. It's like, holy crap.
You make noise.
Yeah, this guy's amazing. And obviously lost my best friend, so that it means more to me.
For sure.
And then kind of just like my 1A is Buster Posey, because number one, he didn't have to speak out loudly to have an impact.
Yeah.
It was a lot of the way he played, a lot of the way he conducted himself. Yeah. But he was also, he also was able to be direct with teammates and stuff and say, hey, that's just don't fucking do that, or whatever. He was not, without being an asshole.
Yeah, he probably had respect in the locker room.
Yeah, somebody who was able from the beginning of his career to be able to speak truth without being an asshole.
Yeah, fair. Any lifters? Too deep?
Kind of too deep. Yeah. I don't know.
Because we just rub elbows with them all. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is weird, and probably the people that I've spent the most time like actually hanging out with were multiply lifters, and this is not going to be a comment. Not going to be a popular sentiment, but I think that a lot of them, their accomplishments are diminished not by the gear but by the judging.
Yeah,
that happened
or
at the
combo,
time. Yeah, or some combination.
For sure.
If you're wearing gear, you're wearing gear. Whatever.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're unless everyone acknowledges, the squat is a different standard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the argument of lift to your standard or lift to the judge's standard.
Yeah.
And I would always rather lift to my standard.
Yeah.
Right? I want to hit depth. I don't care if the judges are calling high squats. I'm not going to squat high.
Right.
I'm going to hit my depth. I'm going to hit my pause. And so the whole world knows I hit it to the standard of the rule book or my own personal standard. And that's why I think you're getting at, where like the ref ruled that, and then the lifters started to take advantage of that, and then the suits got tighter and weights got heavier, and it kind of ruined. That's literally what ruined the sport.
Yeah.
It happens in Raw too.
Yeah.
Right? Weird calls, high squats. Judges are getting nervous at a world record. It's a fast pause command, and now we're going down the hill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's no like ranking for it. And I know the USAPL kind of does, where they're like, oh, I'm a local judge, I'm an international judge, this and that. But like, it's fucking hard to become a referee at an NBA finals.
Yeah.
You got to do 7th and 8th grade. You got to do some high school. Then you got to do high school playoffs. Then you got to do high school championships. And maybe you got to track, a D3 college. You got to work yourself up to prove that you're consistent under pressure, under big calls, under different circumstances. And we just don't have that timeline or the frequency of practice for referees in the sport, because you're not reffing even high school. You're reffing 3 games a week.
Yeah.
Or more, probably 6, because you're doing 2 games per sesh. And you just don't get that practice as a ref or that ladder to grow. The
most impressive thing I've ever seen a lifter do was Andy Bolton's first over 1,000-pound deadlift.
First style off the ground.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been more excited about any particular lift ever. And the whole room exploded. That was like amazing.
I do wonder. Shout out to Riggs for absolutely obliterating 1075 deadlift, about as clean as I've ever seen a world record.
Right, yeah. And there's still controversy because it's the internet and it's powerlifting.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking good, man.
Yeah.
Especially if you're, heading down that world. I do wonder, they talk about like the ceiling, now that there's been a couple 1,000-pound pulls. Because Andy Bolton's is just like a different category, obviously.
Yeah.
Multiply and years ago.
Right.
I do wonder if, I know Jamal probably for sure has it in him, but I wonder if there's going to be a bunch of fucking 1,000-pound pulls all of a sudden.
Maybe so.
Yeah, because the psychology of it is all weird.
Yeah, if you don't think anyone can do it, then you're not worried about whether you can do it. And once somebody does it, then it
game on.
suddenly becomes possible. Yeah.
Game on. I think we're moving. We'll be in
this is
Santa
next
Clara?
Wednesday, so yes.
Santa Clara, 13th, 14th. Come by the booth. I don't know the booth number, but the expo won't be that big. If you go through the main gates, we'll be on the left somewhere. Come say what's up. Come win some prizes. Come check out the new launch. The new launch is only going to be live for our Discord crew, if you guys want to join that, or at the expo. And then eventually the rest of you plebs will get it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. New episodes every Wednesday, Friday. Be sure to subscribe, share these things out. It helps a lot. 3sb.co. August 15th is our full biggest collection launch. Phys Ed 2, a couple tees, bunch of hoodie sweats, and some tees, some shorts. And we'll catch you in the next one, fam.
I am at the Jim McD on all the social media. This show is 50% facts, where percent is a word and 50 is just numbers. We are a Spreaker Prime podcast in association with iHeartMedia on the Obscure Celebrity Network. And we will be back to you next time, probably with guests, I'm thinking. Not next time, because next time is a Friday episode, but you know what I mean. Next week, Wednesday, we will likely have some kind of guesting going on. And we'll see you then.